What's up, guys? Welcome to session 11 of Linux Bash Scripting Intermediate Level from coding-bootcamps.com. As always, I am your instructor, Kevin Downs. Today we're going to be talking about an overview of file manipulation utilities. So last session we covered improving the performance of scripts, timing commands in scripts, system resources, setting limits, and portability issues. Today we have a lot to go over, but don't be worried, this is just an overview of things we've already covered. So we're going to be talking about editing a file from a script, scripting with ed or sed, Unix and Linux utilities to manipulate files, regular expressions, grep and egrep, the stream editor sed, sorting in scripts, generating reports with awk, splitting large files, counting words, lines, and characters, transforming file contents, and extracting text strings. As a note, guys, this is an overview of things we've already covered. So in our previous course, Intro to Bash Scripting, we covered a lot of the topics discussed in this session in depth, including many hands-on examples on how to use the grep command. As such, in this session, we go over them as a quick refresher. Okay? So guys, if you need more assistance with these topics, take our Intro to Bash Scripting course, which you can click on that link here to follow, or register for our tutoring session. So you have two options there. Take the previous course, or go ahead and look at the tutoring sessions we have available. Both are suitable options, and they'll get you up to speed quickly. So first one we're talking about is editing a file from a script. So we have the sed command, and sed command has this format. We have pattern 1, pattern 2, exclamation point, and then the command and arguments. So it'll look something like this. We have sed-i, single quote, s/gedit.desktop /yournew.desktop /g, single quote, and then user share applications defaults.list. So what this means is it's going to search and file user share applications default list. So this file here. It's going to find the gedit desktop. So it's going to find this. And it's going to replace it with this, yournew.desktop. And it's going to apply the changes in place, -i, okay? So in this file, it's searching for this line, and it's going to replace it with this line. That's basically what that's doing. That can be super handy so that you don't have to go in the file, find the line, delete it, and type in the new thing. You can do it with one simple command here. Super helpful. So now we can talk about scripting with ed or sed. So an ed script must contain commands to save the file and quit the editor. It produces no output to the screen except what may be generated by a specific command. The stream orientation of sed has a major impact on how addressing is applied. In ed, a command without an address affects only the current line. Sed is a stream editor. A stream editor is used to perform basic text transformations on an input stream, which can be a file or input from a pipeline. While in some ways similar to an editor which permits scripted edits, such as ed, sed works by making only one pass over the input and is consequently more efficient. So here we have some examples and general syntax for that. So we have a pattern in action, just like we saw in a couple slides ago. So here the pattern is a regular expression, and the action is one of the commands given in the following table. If patterns is omitted, action is performed for every line as we have seen above. So the / character that surrounds the patterns are required because they are used as delimiters. So now we're going to take a look at how to delete all lines with sed. So first we would invoke sed again, but the sed is now supposed to use the editing command delete line denoted by the single letter D. So we cat the file etc password and we pipe that to sed-d. But instead of invoking sed by sending a file to it through a pipe, the sed can be instructed to read the data from a file as in the following example. So we can actually get rid of that pipe there, and what we can do instead is we can do sed-e d in single quotes on this file. It works just the same as above here when using a pipe, except down here we can just do it as one command. It's going to read that file anyways. So let's talk about how to manipulate Unix and Linux files using some utilities. So these are the common commands which help you create, delete, rename, move, copy, edit, and perform other related activities on Linux files. So we have cat, which will display the contents of a file. It stands for concatenate. We have touch, which will create an empty file. We have ls or list, which will list files in your current directory. We have make dir or make directory, which will make a directory, a blank one. We have cd or change directory, which will change to a directory that you specify. We have pwd, which stands for print working directory. It will display the current directory you're in. We have rmdir, remove directory, which will delete a directory. Now keep in mind when you use this, if there are contents in the directory, it's going to spit back an error for you. It's going to say, hey, that directory is not empty. So what you can do is you can do a -f for force or recursive and delete everything within that directory. We have rm, which will remove files. We have move, which does two things. One, it renames a file and can also move a file to a different location. Keep in mind that this is changing the inode of the file. So you're not making a copy of the file. You're still only going to have one file, but in a new location. Copy, on the other hand, CP, makes a direct clone of the file where you specify. So you'll have two of the same files. And you have LM, which will create links for files, whether that's hard or soft links. Okay, and that can be specified by the -H or -S option. Now we're going to talk about regex or regular expressions. So some of the commonly used commands with regular expressions are tr, sed, vi, and grep. Below we have listed some of the basic regex. We have the \, which escapes a special character. We have the caret symbol, which will start with a character, so find everything that starts with a character. We have the splat or star symbol, which will match 0 or more of the preceding characters. Now if we put that star before a word of characters, it says, hey, find everything that ends in this. If we put the star after certain characters, it'll say, hey, find everything that starts with this. We have the question mark, which will match 0 or 1 of the preceding items. Okay. And then, didn't mean to change that. And then we have match any character, which is the period. Okay. So question mark, we can put that in the middle of a word, and it's going to find all words that have a character that match in that spot. Okay, and period will match any character. So let's talk about grep and egrep. Grep searches input files for lines containing a match to give a pattern list. When it finds a match in a line, it copies the line to standard output by default or produces whatever other sort of output you have requested with options. Though grep expects to do the matching on text, it has no limits on input line length other than available memory, and it can match arbitrary characters within a line. If the final byte of an input file is not a new line, grep silently supplies one. Since new line is also a separator for the list of patterns, there is no way to match new line characters in a text. So I can demo that for you real quick. Grep is super handy, guys. Great way to find things you're looking for in a file. So I'm going to just do a quick ls to see what files I got here. So let's go ahead and just use my name.sh script. I'm just going to say grep a name.sh. And it's going to give me everything in that script that has a in it, as you see here. Okay. Now I have echo here, so I can even do grep echo name.sh. Okay. It gives me everything that has the word echo in it. Okay. Now, guys, what I recommend is don't get in the bad habit of not putting quotation marks around things you're searching. Okay. You run the risk of whatever pattern you supply to it, you run the risk of things being interpreted as commands or special characters if you don't encapsulate it in quotation marks. So get in the habit of quoting things when you use the grep command, okay? So grep command, you do grep, the pattern that you're searching for, and the file you want to search in. The general synopsis of the grep command line is here. So you do grep, any options you want to supply to it, the pattern you're looking for, and then the file you're searching in. There can be 0 or more options. Patterns will only be seen as such if it wasn't already specified within options. There can be 0 or more input files, so you can actually use multiple files when you're searching as well. egrep is the same as grep-E, and it's extended regular expressions, and it interprets patterns that are extended regular expressions, okay? So grep searches the named input files, which can be standard input if no files are named, or if a single hyphen minus is given as the file name. So it searches named files for lines containing a match to the given pattern. By default, grep prints a matching line. So we can use egrep to match certain regular expressions or characters that otherwise wouldn't be recognized by grep. So we have some options here for grep and egrep. Okay, we have dash A, which will print the number of lines trailing context after matching lines. Okay, we have dash lowercase a, which processes a binary file as if it were text. We have dash capital B, which prints number of lines leading context before matching lines. We have dash capital C, which will print number of lines of output context. We have dash lowercase b, which will print the byte offset within the input file before each of the line output. So we have some examples here. So we have a file called sample, has apple, bat, ball, ant, eat, pant, etc. So we can use grep A on that cat sample. So we do cat sample pipe grep A, and it's going to look for all characters A in that file, which I showed you on our virtual box. We also have a caret symbol here, which matches the lines that start with A. Okay. So if we do cat sample pipe grep starts with an A, so you match all lines that start with an A. That's kind of hard to see on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cat name.sh and kind of demo that here. So my cat this file is just so you can see what's in it. Oops, I need to spell it correctly though. Everything in Linux is case sensitive. Okay. So I see a couple lines here that start with E. So what I can do is I can do cat name.sh, pipe that to grep, say, hey, everything that starts with an E, show that to me. And there you go. We have two lines that start with an E. Okay. So grep can be super handy and useful. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the stream editor sed. So the sed command or stream editor is a very powerful utility offered by Linux and Unix systems. It is mainly used for text substitution, find and replace, but it can also be formed other text manipulations like insertion, deletion, and search. Okay, so we have some examples of that here. So we have our find and replace here, which we saw in a couple slides ago. Okay, we have another search and replace here. So in this file, testfile.txt, search for danger and replace it with safety. Okay, same with this one here. We also have some other options that we can throw onto sed. So sed can be a very useful tool as well, guys. So let's talk about the sort command. Sort is a simple and very useful command which will rearrange the lines in the text file so that they are sorted numerically and alphabetically. By default, the rules for sorting are as follows. So lines starting with a number will appear before lines starting with a letter. Lines starting with a letter that appears earlier in the alphabet will appear before lines starting with a letter that appears later in the alphabet. Lines starting with a lowercase letter will appear before lines starting with the same letter in the uppercase. So guys, all this means is that it sorts the lines in a file. Numbers come first, then it goes by alphabetical order, so obviously A becomes before B and B comes before C, etc. And then it will put all lowercase letters before all uppercase letters that have the same match, okay? I can show that to you here real quick. We're going to use that same name.sh file. We're just going to do sort name.sh, okay? And there you go. We have our meta character here come first, and then we have E and R, okay? Let's actually look for another file. We have the book file here. The book file has a lot in it, so we're going to do a sort book. There you go. So it has all our blank spaces first. A comes first, okay? Then we have author, capital A, that comes second. We have B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and then T. And then lowercase t becomes for the uppercase T. Okay, so sort can be a useful command as well. What I typically use sort for is I'll do a du -sh star pipe sort -n. Okay, and what this does for me is you see here, it shows me the disk usage for this current directory. It lists all the files in it, and it sorts it from smallest to largest based on size. Okay, so I have 0 all the way up to 8 kilobytes. So that's how I use sort typically, is I want to sort things based off of size. So sort can also be very functional and useful for organizing commands for you, okay? Keep in mind though, that this is just going off number here, which is what -n is. So I could actually have a file here that is 1 gig, and then it would show 4 kilobytes after that. Obviously 1 gig is larger than 4 kilobytes, but that's not what we're using this sort command for. I just wanted to do it number wise, so smallest number to biggest number, and then I myself just have to be aware that it's going from smallest number to largest number. Let's go and talk about generating reports with awk. So awk uses a group of instructions called pattern. Patterns are applied to records. So records are blocks of data separated by a new line or any character defined in the RS variable. Fields are strings in a record separated by a space or any character defined in the FS variable. We have covered this topic in depth in our previous course, so again, if you haven't taken that course, be sure to take that course and get a little bit more in-depth explanation on awk. We're going to go and move on to splitting large files. So to split large files into smaller files in Unix, use the split command. So at the Unix prompt, you would enter split, the options, and then the file name and the prefix. You replace file name with the name of the large file you wish to split, and you replace prefix with the name you wish to give the smaller output file. So you have your large file here, and then you have whatever you want to name the smaller file here. You don't have to use options, but you could, and you can replace it with either of the following: -L for line number and -B for bytes. If you use the -L option, line number with the number of lines you'd like in each of the smaller files. Okay. If you use the -B option, you replace bytes with the number of bytes you'd like in each of the smaller files. So you can actually size how many smaller files you want it in. We also have the word count command. This prints a count of new lines, words, and bytes for each input file. The WC command, without passing any parameters, will display a basic result of anytime.txt file. Count number of lines, display number of words, count number of bytes and characters, and display length of longest line. Okay, it's a pretty simple command, guys. So if I do a WC on the book file, it tells you number of lines, number of words, characters, and then the name of the file there. Okay. So if you want to edit a file, you can use the Vim editor. And to do so, you just type in Vim and then the file you wish to edit. So for example, if I want to edit the Etsy iscan intscan.ini file, which is an inventory file, I would just do Vim and then space that file. So you just type the / and then the name of the value you'd like to edit and press enter to search for the value in the file. So when we're in our Vim file, if we hit that / we can actually search for things within that file. So let's say I'm in this book file and I want to find the word now. I can do / let me move my screen up here so you can see that. I can do / now, and there you go. It actually highlights now for me. Notice, oops, there we go. Notice it didn't highlight the uppercase now, so it's case sensitive. It only showed me the lowercase now. Okay. If I hit N, that'll show me the next match. In this case, there are no matches though. Okay, there's only one now in this file. Let's head back to our PowerPoint. So with POSIX said, you need to specify all the transliterations, and then you can choose which letters you want to convert. Okay. So can you actually use sed in that Vim editor, which is handy for when we want to edit things inside those files. So when we want to extract text strings, you can use the grep with the -A and -B options. The -A will switch will read the X number of lines after the error, and so that's probably the option that you want. You can also use the -B switch will read X number of lines before the error. So in summary, guys, we talked about editing a file from a script, scripting with eder_sed, Unix and Linux utilities manipulate files, regular expressions grep and egrep, the stream editor sed, sorting in scripts, generating reports with awk, splitting large files, counting words, lines, and characters, transforming file contents, and extracting text strings. Next session, we're going to go over examining and comparing files, reporting differences between files, comparing files of any format, displaying data in octal and hex, compressing data, and converting file formats. And again, this will be a review of things we've already covered. So guys, if you saw some topics in here that you weren't quite sure about, definitely follow these links and check out the weekly and monthly plans we have available for private tutoring sessions for system administrator management, as well as the Linux and Bash scripting private tutoring sessions. Thanks so much for joining me on this session, guys, but I am looking forward to seeing you in our next session as well.